I think she's back.
Oh, we should have get ready to cover.
The last lady here in the green.
That's what I heard.
I didn't even see that one. My mom had just said it. So
It's my personal opinion. It's bad to continue. Anyway,
type C objects or that's
Commission on this town. She takes all.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Seeing the park is within in the boundaries of PDA. So that's why I got him to buy in.
the only bad. We need to, like, we do need to figure out that corner at Viking Barber Shop.
Well, I think
So that if,
people are aware of
like,
each other.
let's say you lived on Riley Street or you're
There's a lot of people take
I call this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
President Burdine,
Here.
Trustee Polito,
Here.
Trustee Hickey,
here.
Trustee McClendon,
Here.
Trustee Reeves,
Here.
Trustee Horky,
Here.
Trustee Schroeder,
Here.
Manager Ewell.
Here. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is there an approval for tonight's agenda?
I'll make the motion for the approval of tonight's agenda.
Second.
It's been approved by Mike McClendon and seconded by Andrea Hickey that we approve tonight's agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
No? All, okay, so hearing all the ayes, tonight's agenda, we have an agenda. Do I have a motion for the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting minutes, April 2nd, 2019?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Trustee Schroeder and seconded by Trustee Horky that we approve the minutes of the regular meeting, April 2nd, 2019. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Is there a motion to approve the petitions and communications? How about?
Make the motion to approve petitions and communications.
Second.
It's been the motion by,
Wait.
we're just approving it to talk about it.
Was Teresa not going to say anything about the public art herself? Or?
Yeah, she is.
Yep.
We're going to meet during discussion.
Oh, because public art finding is under petitions and communications.
Right. We're going to use that under discussion,
But-
petitions.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure it wasn't going to.
Okay, who made the motion?
McClendon, Dr. Thomas, Trustee McClendon, and Jordan Reeves.
It's
Discussion.
It's been, the motion was made by Trustee McClendon and seconded by Trustee Reeves. All in favor of accepting? Okay, now we can have discussion of the motion of Arbor Day Foundation letter.
That letter is just on file that we're being, acknowledgement that we're accepted as a Tree City USA again. And Robin does that grant every year for our trees and does a great job with that. And so that letter is just going on file, and we're Tree City USA.
Okay. Okay, so now, Teresa, would you like to come up on the public art findings?
So a few months ago, I live in Tecumseh, and we have public art on display, and I thought it would be nice to, with our new green spaces, to bring some public art to Dundee. So here I am with a presentation for you. Public art reflects and reveals our evolving culture, our society, and adds meaning to our cities. So I toured Flatliner's Art Gallery in Blissfield on April 4th and took a lot of pictures. And I've also been looking into some other art galleries just for some ideas. I have a committee of 5 members: Terry Potts from the DDA, Brian Schroeder from the Village Council, Lindsay Cross from Dundee High School, the art teacher, Lisa Wayne from DABA, and myself representing the village. Let's see. And we plan to have our first meeting by June 1st, and I'll bring our findings to you at that time. And I think we have a few
Ready
pictures
for
to
some
show.
pictures? Teresa has about 100 pictures here, but I'll go over a couple with you. She's done a really good job on this since she talked to you at the budget hearings about this. These are no way saying these are what we want. Teresa explained that to me when she brought them. It's just an example for you to look at.
That's a noise maker. It's like a wind chime, a giant wind chime. It
Tornado.
was
It's a big
approximately
one, Shine.
It's $5,000.
It's just an example. There's another piece there. I thought there was a neat one, and I don't know if we can find it, Teresa, but
The fish?
the fish, I thought that, I told Teresa today, I said that would really look nice.
The fish is coming up.
That isn't
That's
the.
a stonefish.
That's a different one, that's a stonefish. But there was one right
That one.
there.
That's cool.
I thought that'd be neat by the, but just some examples.
Yep.
How much does that one run, you know?
I don't know if there's a price on the bottom of it. No, it didn't list the
That one,
price on that one.
I meant to call and ask, because I knew Dave liked that one, although he's not on the committee, so.
She reminded me of that when I said I like that fish.
Okay, just wondering.
Okay,
All right,
thank
good
you.
job, thank you.
Does anybody have any questions for Teresa on this?
No, I just look forward to seeing what you come up with.
Thank you.
So we're not buying any or nothing tonight, we're just discussing it for the future?
Yep,
Yeah, she's just presenting.
yep.
Gotcha. Okay, so now we have public comments, and is there any citizens out there that wish to speak? We'll give you 4 minutes right now if you wish to speak about anything.
Yeah, make that clear.
Excuse
Yeah,
me.
this is on the agenda items that you speak on. So I guess you're gonna have to come back, I'm
Okay,
sorry, Sharon.
not the one-
For the,
Not the one that I wanted
Right.
to ask him?
If it's on the agenda,
you have something on the agenda?
Oh,
I'm sorry, okay, so we'll call you back, I'm sorry. You might as well sit right there so you don't have to walk so far.
Hi, I'm Terry Potts, I'm with the DDA, and I'd just like to add, as far as the artwork, on the fit assessment that was done by Michigan State University, they made several suggestions on what we should do to make things a little bit nicer for the people coming into our community that would possibly get them to come back again. One of those things was to have an art type display within the city. They've strongly suggested that. They thought that would be great in the 2 green spaces that Teresa was talking about. And they're going to come back at a later date and do another investigation on what kind of improvements we did and what their new findings are. So I think that this artwork would just be an awesome thing for us to have.
Could you explain again, Terry, where the two green spaces were again, please?
Both green spaces were, the one area is there by David Arthur's building, right there at Ypsilanti Street where it was closed off. The other green space is beside the Bricktown, right here,
Right here.
By the parking lot.
Okay.
So that was their suggestion. And also doing something along the river and Riverwalk. And they made several other suggestions, but it doesn't have anything to do with the artwork. But those things were something that they highly suggested.
How long were they here when they went through
They
this?
did a 3-day, there were 3 people, and it was all done within, I think it was 3 days. They spent 3 days here. Minimum 2 days, maximum 3 days, but actually, no, there's more than 3 people. There were 5 people that came through. And we didn't know that they were here. It was totally. I believe you were at that meeting, weren't you?
I'm not for sure. Which
Okay.
meeting are you talking about? The DDA or?
It was a pit assessment, and DDA was there, DABA was there. It was in the old mill in the banquet area.
Oh, yes.
We had it in there, and we had a speaker, and then had a chart that we had to pin things up on, and where we thought we lied. Okay?
Thank you. Is there any more questions on this, the citizens' comments on agenda items? Hearing none, and we'll move next to the consent. Okay, so what are we voting on?
To approve, to accept petitions and communications, please.
So we need a motion to approve.
Motion and a second.
All right, we've had the motion, so I can't remember who did it.
Trustee McClendon made the motion, trustee Reeves supported the motion to accept the petitions and communication and place on file.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, the petitions and communications are passed. Now we go to the consent agenda.
I move to accept the consent agenda.
Second.
All right. There's been a motion by trustee Hickey and seconded by trustee Horky. Is there any discussion on the motion? I'll read out the consent agenda. A is request by Mayfly Music Festival to conduct fireworks display Friday, June 21st at dusk. B, donation request for Mayfly Music Festival not to exceed $5,000 in kind expenses, i.e. garbage and police. C, the payment of the bills. The amount of the bills are $62,251.27. Could I have the roll call, please? If there isn't any, yeah. Go ahead. Roll call, please.
It was moved by trustee Hickey, supported by trustee Horky, to accept the consent agenda and place on file. Trustee Hickey,
Yes.
trustee McClendon,
Yes.
trustee Reeves,
Yes.
trustee Horky,
Yes.
trustee Schroeder,
Yes.
trustee Polito,
Yes.
President Burdine,
Yes.
motion's carried.
New business. Resolution number 2019-07 SA number 2, a resolution to set prices for McBride Street Special Assessment.
Hello.
Robin?
Tonight, in front of you, actually A, B, C, and D are kind of the same, but the first one, 2019-07, is the second special assessment resolution where it sets the prices for the McBride Street project as well as the properties that the special assessment will be on. Again, this is only streets on McBride Street, as you guys know. We're also doing water and sewer. Those are budgeted through the water department and the sewer department. So number 2 is just for the McBride Street. Along with that, at number 3 is the resolution that sets a public hearing for the McBride Street special assessment. Once you approve these, then notice is put in the paper, and it's also sent to the folks who are being specially assessed. And they will have the opportunity to come and present in writing and speak on their dissatisfaction if they don't want to be special assessed. That date is our first meeting in May. So that's 7 and 8. On number 3, which is number B, I made a mistake, believe it or not. On page 2, I put the estimated life as 10 years, and I want to change that to 15 years. You aren't supposed to spread the special assessments out for longer than the asset will last. So I feel like we've gotten 15 years out of roads before, so I think that it would be beneficial to the homeowners for it to be spread over 15 years. But I didn't catch it in time.
Especially with our new maintenance, Robin,
Right.
where we're gonna hit the roads sooner.
Yep. Any questions on 07?
Any questions? You must be doing a fine job then. All right. We need a motion to accept the resolution number 2019-07, SA number 2, a resolution to set prices for McBride special assessment, as Robin clarified.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Can we have a roll call, please?
It was moved by trustee Schroeder, supported by trustee Polito, to adopt resolution 2019-07, SA2, a resolution to set prices for McBride Street special assessment. Trustee McClendon?
Yes.
Trustee Reeves?
Yes.
Trustee Horky?
Yes.
Trustee Schroeder?
Yes.
Trustee Polito?
Yes.
Trustee Hickey?
Yes.
President Bedine?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Now we'll go to resolution number 2019-08, SA number 3, a resolution to set a public hearing for special assessment McBride Street. Robin?
We need a motion, are we good?
Is there no questions to Robin anymore on this one?
Do we need a motion?
You have a comment to make first?
So
Is there any comments to ask Robin?
that is the one that I'm going to change the 10 years to 15 years. And it has a copy of the notice that I'm going to put in the paper.
Okay.
I move to accept resolution 2019-08 with the amendment of changing it to 15 instead of 10 years.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Could we have the roll call, please?
It was moved by trustee Hickey and supported by trustee Reeves to adopt resolution 2019-08, SA number 3, a resolution to set public hearing for special assessment for McBride Street with the change for 15 years instead of 10 years.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Reeves?
Yes.
Trustee Horky?
Yes.
Trustee Schroeder?
Yes.
Trustee Polito?
Yes.
Trustee Hickey?
Yes.
Trustee McClendon?
Yes.
President Bedine?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Now we have C, resolution number 2019-09, SA number 2, Cabela Boulevard West, to set prices for special assessment.
Okay, this is the same as McBride's, except of course the cost and the place. It will be setting that special assessment, and there's only, I think, 5, oh no. There's fewer people than hurt. This one is the one that you have considered and already passed one resolution that we will be bonding for because it is costly, and the bonding will take place after the public hearing next month. But this is the second one on the Cabela Boulevard. West, all the way around to 440 feet shy of Whitetail, where we already did.
How long ago did we do that?
2013.
Okay. Is there any questions before we have this motion to accept this resolution? Okay. We need a motion. Anybody want to make a motion so we can
I'll
move
make a
on?
motion to accept the resolution number 2019-09, SA number 2, Cabela Boulevard West, to set prices for special assessment.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Could we have the roll call, please? Is there any discussion anymore? Or if not, we'll have the roll call. Roll call, please.
It was moved by trustee McClendon, supported by trustee Hickey, to adopt resolution 2019-09, SA number 2, resolution to set prices for Cabela Boulevard West. Trustee Schroeder,
Yes.
trustee Polito,
Yes.
trustee Hickey,
Yes.
trustee McClendon,
Yes.
trustee Reeves,
Yes.
trustee Horky,
Yes.
President Bodine.
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Now we have resolution number 2019-11, setting 2019 sidewalk program.
Well, 10.
Miss Tim,
I missed it?
Miss T.
I know, it seems like we've already done it, but
Okay, 2019, okay, gotcha. We have resolution number 2019-10, SA3, Cabela Boulevard West, to set a public hearing for special assessment.
again, like McBride's, only this one I have 15 years on because I think that's the maximum we're gonna be able to bond for. Setting their public hearing the same night as the McBride Street public hearing, which will be May 7th. And once this is done, tomorrow we'll be sending out the notices and sending it to the paper.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept resolution 2019-10, SA number 3, Cabela Boulevard West, to set a public hearing for special assessment.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Could we have the roll call, please?
It was moved by trustee Polito, supported by trustee Horky, to adopt resolution 2019-10, SA number 3, a resolution to set public hearing for special assessment for Cabela Boulevard West. Trustee Polito,
Yes.
trustee Hickey,
Yes.
trustee McClendon,
Yes.
trustee Reeves,
Yes.
trustee Horky,
Yes.
trustee Schroeder,
Yes.
President Bodine.
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Thank you.
Now we have a resolution for number 2019-11, setting 2019 sidewalk program. Nick?
Hello, I'm Nick Lepensi with the Engineering Department. I bring to you Resolution 2019-11, which sets the sidewalk program in place. So each year, the Engineering Department presents a resolution to council for the assessment of sidewalks in a particular area of the town, which is determined years ago in zones. So this year, the zone that we're looking at is includes streets like Ann Arbor Road, Rawson Street, Barnum Street, Ypsilanti Street, Macon Street, Dunham Street, Midway, Penfield, Railroad, Viking Drive, Adams, Van Ness, and Main Street, and other things through the year that have been brought to our attention, like little pieces of broken sidewalk in various places. So with the approval of this resolution, we will go out, assess the sidewalks in these particular areas and mark them. We will solicit bids to some contractors to get it replaced. Then I bring the best bid back to you guys to approve. And then it moves on with doing it, getting it done. You also might want to know that we mark the walk with a V or an O, meaning V, it's a village problem, or O, it's an owner problem. A village problem would be like it's something that's related to a village tree that made the sidewalk heave up, or it's next to a utility where the ground is kind of collapsed. Those are our problems. Owner problems are just natural walks that are really old, that are no longer in good condition, or ones that have heaved up for no good reason, other than the weather has done that. That's an owner responsible thing. So we gather up all the things that need fixing, we put it in a list, we send it out to bid, I bring that back to you. People that don't fix them on their own, that's marked O, we fix it for them, and then we send them the bill, which is our cost, plus admin fee, which is, I believe, is usually $25. And that gets everything fixed within the zone, one way or another. And so that resolution is up to you to approve.
So who determines who the sidewalks, how bad they are, and who, if it's the owners or the village's problem?
Like
Yeah,
I
but
said,
like
if it's a tree, or if it's something that's determined that this is because of something that the village has done or the village owns, those we do. If it's just a condition problem where, you know, the owner owns a sidewalk that's 50 years old and it has a bunch of cracks in it and it's a hazard to people, that's their issue. So we do it as we go. One of the village staff determines if it's village or owner.
Oh, who is that village staff person?
Last year, it was the manager and the building inspector did that because I was busy on Outer Drive, and every year before that, it has been the engineering department.
And what happens if there's a dispute?
I have talked to numerous people, and no one has ever disputed me where there wasn't a resolution, where we just talk about it and I say, well, you can see it's this, and anytime I've had that, which is rare, they've gone, okay, I can see why you're saying that. So just talking calmly with people, talking about it, they usually see what the issue is. And we're pretty generous about what is the village's issue. We also seek the lowest cost to get it fixed. We've introduced some new things in the last few years with slab jacking, where they pump the concrete under it and lift it up, which can make a trip hazard go away. That's a fraction of the cost of replacing it, and we contract that as well and pass that savings on to the homeowner. We only charge them what it costs us, and we get a bulk rate.
Approximately how much is that per the square of the sidewalk?
It varies every year. I can't even say. It varies every year due to the bids.
All right, Nick, thank you. So we need a motion for resolution number 2019-11, setting 2019 sidewalk program.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Could we have a roll call, please?
It was moved by trustee Schroeder and supported by trustee Horky to adopt resolution 2019-11, a resolution setting 2019 sidewalk program. Trustee Horky?
Yes.
Trustee, excuse me, trustee Schroeder?
Yes.
Trustee Polito?
Yes.
Trustee McClendon?
Yes.
Trustee Hickey?
Yes.
Trustee Reeves?
Yes.
President Burdine?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nick.
Now we go to F, discussion of complaints regarding elected official. How does the council want to handle this?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Chief Tim Garble with the Dundee Police Department, for those that may not know me out in the audience. On I've got a letter that was dated April 10, The reason the date of the letter is kind of delayed is I wanted to make sure everybody on the board was here before I actually approached the full council. I feel a need to bring this in light. I took it to the village manager, and I'd like to read that letter just so if there's any questions, I could possibly answer those. This was directed to Manager Yule. It says, I am writing this letter in regards to a very disturbing phone call that I received on February 25th, 2019 at 8:37 p.m. from the city of Milan Police Chief Don Tillery. Chief Tillery informed me that the Dundee Village Council President, Tim Bourdin, was present during the Milan City Council meeting. At the conclusion of the meeting, Mr. Bourdin approached Chief Tillery and began questioning him about the operations of the Dundee Police Department. Chief Tillery thought at first that Mr. Bourdin was the village manager, until I corrected him and explained that Mr. Bourdin is the council president. I continued explaining that Mr. Bourdin is only one member of a 7-member panel board. I told Chief Tillery that Mr. Bourdin is not the mayor, Dundee is a village, and unlike Milan, and he is definitely not the village manager. I questioned Chief Tillery about his conversation with Mr. Tim Bourdin. He stated that Tim questioned, while in the presence of a city council trustee, which he did not appreciate, that Tim explained that he attended meetings in both Blissfield and Tecumseh to see how things are done. Tim said, I just want, and this is a quote, I just want Milan's thoughts on a few things. Tim asked, what do you think about the Dundee Police Department writing tickets on US 23? Chief Tillery responded with, what does your chief think about officers writing tickets on US 23? Then Tim asked another question. He said, how do you feel about the officers stopping cars for improper tabs, the little stickers? Tim then asked a third question. Chief Tillery replied with the same comment, saying that, how does your chief feel about officers stopping cars for the little stickers? Chief Tillery replied, with that, Tim then asked a third question, how do you feel about guys writing a lot of tickets for little stuff? And then Chief Tillery replied, how does your chief feel about guys writing tickets? Chief Tillery said that the conversation ended abruptly once Tim realized he was not going to get the answers that he felt he was looking for. Chief Tillery did observe Tim speak to a few more people before exiting. Mr. Yule, I'm bringing this issue to your attention via the chain of command to have this matter addressed. I've spoken with members from the communities of Blissfield, Petersburg, and Tecumseh. They have informed me that Mr. Bourdin has made his presence within their communities and attended some of their meetings, council meetings. Therefore, I have great concerns that Tim Bourdin is going to other communities to discuss matters that pertain to the village of Dundee, particularly the police department. Tim has been told on more than one occasion to direct police matters to me should he have any concerns. Now, Tim has gone to another chief to seek his opinion on how business is conducted here at the Dundee Police Department. This is very upsetting and feel that he's created a hostile work environment. I feel that Mr. Bourdin has gone rogue and created an image that is not good for the village of Dundee. My perception is that Mr. Bourdin believes he is in fact the commander-in-chief for the village of Dundee. Mr. Bourdin has told residents and business personnel within the village of Dundee that he has an agenda, and part of that agenda is to fire employees here at the village office. I am asking that this matter be addressed by the village council along with the village attorney for appropriate actions. Respectfully submitted, Tim Garble, Chief of Police. My concerns, it's very disheartening, first of all, that another council member would go to another community to question how things are done. I know all of you work at a place or have worked at a place, and we follow the chain of command here. I would expect that as an elected official, and I've made perfectly clear to Mr. Bourdin specifically that if he had a concern or a question, please come see me. So obviously I feel that not only the embarrassment to the village of Dundee, but it's undermining the police department here. With that also said, he is creating a hostile work environment, and that is totally inappropriate for us as a PD. The last thing I'm going to leave you with is that people see that our own elected officials don't respect the police department. How can we expect the citizens within the village of Dundee to respect the police department? That's all I have to say.
When an employee brings a complaint, then I'm compelled to do some type of investigation and also bring it to the council's attention, which I did, and I supplied you with a synopsis of things that are going on. There is not a meeting that I go to in Monroe that a section of it is not answering what is going on in the village of Dundee, questioning from other officials, from other municipalities. I took Teresa down to the sister's house for a luncheon from the chamber. I try to take the girls out, and Robin goes out, and I take them to different events with me. And Teresa was embarrassed. The first 10 minutes at my table eating lunch was just questions bombarding about what is going on in the village of Dundee. It's very embarrassing. I'm not quite sure this has been, Mr. Burdine's been sanctioned censored at another a meeting with another set of council members. I think it's, being a police officer for so many years, I concur with Chief Garble that it is embarrassing to go and hear from other chiefs that someone from this council is second guessing or checking without specifically going to the chief, and which I know Chief Garble has asked for that numerous times. A group of employees here have contacted an employment law firm. Their direction to the group of employees, as Mr. Garble, Chief Garble indicated, was to request the next step in their process was to request Fred Lucas, the village attorney, to conduct a hostile work environment investigation. So that is what Chief Garble is requesting be done. My request to the council, and I have talked to Mr. Lucas about this, is I would request the council talks to Mr. Lucas about drafting a letter that will be sent to municipalities indicating to them that Mr. Burdine does not represent the council as a whole when he is at their meetings and talking. As he indicates he's the village president, which sends an improper message to individuals to begin with. I would request that the council request Mr. Lucas to draft such a letter, and we'll send it out to local municipalities so that they know that when Mr. Burdine comes, such as Mylan has just got explained to you, and I know I got contacted by Blissfield, Mr. Lucas has had conversation with Tecumseh, and so that those municipalities and other ones know that that is not the entire council that is investigating that situation, or that the certain individual is not speaking for the entire council as a whole.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Thank you, Chief.
So, can we just give the directive for Fred to look into this? I'm very concerned, especially the part in your report that states that he's been interrupting individual officers in the performance of their duties.
I don't mean to interrupt,
Please,
but
please.
would you read that, please? The whole
I just read that
the whole thing, like the police chief Tim Garbo has written, what Dave has said, and then at the recommendation for informational, or you want me to read that?
Tim just read his letter.
No, this is the agenda item review form.
If you would like to, please
Yes,
go ahead.
go ahead. Oh, I can?
Whatever you want to do, Tim.
Is that okay with the council?
Go right ahead.
Okay. Here we get this agenda item review form, and we never used to get these before. And here it says,
Well,
this is what...
wait, let me interrupt you.
Okay.
We have been getting them this year at our request. When we ask for additional information, it has been happening since probably about January or February. So yes, we have gotten them. It wasn't just for this meeting, so I just want to make sure everyone knows. These have been part of the council packet for months now.
We requested this at the first budget hearing.
Correct.
I don't remember this in the councils that I served on before, okay?
I'm just making sure everyone knows it's not specific to today's meeting.
Gotcha. Now, may I read it, or you guys want to say something?
Go ahead, Tim.
Like, that it was, my understanding, and I mean, obviously this is the first council I've sat on, this has, I think, greatly increased our understanding of what is going to be on the agenda, so we know what's happening. We have a detailed explanation of the bills so that when we approve them, we know what we're paying. I think Dave does a great job to give us an idea of what is on the agenda and so forth. I think they've been beneficial, and they kind of help speed the meetings along, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I can just add, thanks Shirley, I can just add, Mr. Schroeder brought this up quite some time ago after he got elected. They do this at the school, Mr. Manuzak does it. I thought it was a great idea. Then I later found out that Mr. Birch did this for years, and which Shirley can attest to, did this for years and years and years. And of course, I wasn't involved in that part, working for the Sheriff's Department, and I didn't know that he did that. So, but I did think it was a great idea when Mr. Schroeder brought that up. We started doing it, and I've gotten many compliments from council members on it.
Yep.
Okay.
Now may I read the agenda item review form? This is David Yule telling us, and the recommendation is informational. The police chief, Tim Garbo, has written a letter of concern complaint regarding the actions of Council President Tim Bourdin. The chief has expressed his concern with Mr. Bourdin going to 3 other municipalities and questioning the handling of the Dundee Police Department and attempting to get the chiefs of these municipalities to confer that the officers are operating in an improper manner, including writing improper citations. The chiefs of the municipalities have contacted Chief Garbo with their concerns about Mr. Bourdin and their impression that he is representing the village council. In the case of the city of Milan, they thought Mr. Bourdin was the village manager. Mr. Bourdin has been interrupting individual officers in the performance of their duties, and they have been expressing their concerns to the chief. Chief Garbo has indicated to the office that he is embarrassed that these chiefs have to call him and that they advise that Mr. Bourdin is implying that he is not handling this department correctly. I must tell the council that whenever I attend meetings in Monroe, the first line of questioning is in regard to the behavior of Mr. Bourdin and what is going on in the village. I have also been told that the developers are hearing of this and some are expressing their concerns about dealing with Dundee. It is a misconception of many that Mr. Bourdin is running day-to-day operations of the village. After I spend a concerted amount of time explaining that Mr. Bourdin does not run the day-to-day operations and that he is one vote on the council, the concerns seem to diminish. I have to, however, share with the council that I am very embarrassed with these situations and believe that the village is being held in a bad light. Several employees also have to endure hearing that Mr. Bourdin is telling people on the street and they are going to be fired. I myself hear this from business owners almost on a daily basis, and during Mr. Bourdin's campaign that he is going to fire me. Recently, Mr. Bourdin approached a reporter and owner of a newspaper to imply that I was improperly influencing the decision of the council, getting them to vote the way I wanted them to. Mr. Bourdin indicated that he had the evidence. When he was asked for the documentation, he produced the agenda item review form. Fortunately, the individual disputed this claim. The concerns are that Mr. Bourdin is spreading these misconceptions to many individuals and is personally damaging the reputation of employees employed at the village. Several employees have contacted an employment law firm, and after the consultation were advised that their first step was to officially request an investigation by the village attorney into a hostile work environment. Mr. Lucas has been advised by this office of this request. Now, if I may, with the council's permission, could I say something on my behalf? On March 20th, 2018, Tim Garbo spoke to the Dundee Village Council as the newly appointed police chief. 1 year later, and approximately 6 weeks after the February 25th Milan Council meeting, and 5 months after our elections, he must not or can't accept that I won the village president. I now know, and I must defend myself for false or misleading accusations. I asked Chief Tillery in Milan Police Patrol, if Milan Police patrols US 23, because I never see them when I go to Ann Arbor. I believe I gave him my village president card along with the mayor and trustee who I was talking to. This conversation, has stated, did not end abruptly. I later went to the American Legion across the road from the City Hall with a Milan trustee. I bought him a Bud Light and I had a Pepsi because I don't drink. We talked about Monroe County Fair, 3 doors down in the deepness of Ford Lake, which we were looking at from our table. I went to Blissfield, to their library, to take newly elected official class for general law villages. Trustee Mike McClendon was present there also. This is my big travel experience. He sat at the Morenci table while I was with my friends from Britain. Chief Garbo feels I've gone rogue. I'm not a spy. I myself can't fire anybody. And this would take a majority vote of the council. When I went to Petersburg for a public hearing, October 2nd, 2018, it was at the library to better myself and educate myself on medicinal marijuana. Here's the Monroe Evening News picture, Wednesday on October 3rd, 2018. In this picture, I'm listening to Project Topaz explain their case to allow a medicinal shop. I needed to know the facts because it was going to be located here 2.5 miles from the village of Dundee, if it was okayed. Now, getting on to what Mr. Ewell says. Village Manager Ewell has accused me of interrupting individual officers. This is not true. I have never implied that Chief Garbo is handling the department incorrectly. When I go to surrounding areas and in town, the big questions are, why are the Dundee police seen at Cone Road and Ida West roads? I tell some of them to see David Ewell, Dundee Village Manager. And then on this agenda review form, I myself feel we as a council are capable of making our own decisions. When I was trustee in the past, I didn't see this quite a bit, this agenda review thing. I'll wait for. Underneath it. Yep. I got it right here. This is in April 17th, 2017 packet, which I have, and we didn't have an agenda review item at that time, at that night anyway. Now really, several employees request an investigation by the village attorney. Come on now. Hostile work environment caused by me? Please, David Yule, Tim Garble. I won the election in November. We cleaned house, 4 new council member positions. So stop being so insecure about it. And I have never got a handshake or congratulations by either one of you. Now let's move on for the betterment of the community. And I really hope that we can move on for the betterment of this community. I know you guys didn't want me to win, but I did, so accept it.
What was it you wanted
Now,
to say?
Council, this is what I've learned at the school that we went to, and when I talked to the other municipalities and stuff. I'm doing this for the betterment of Dundee when I go to these other places. Council can direct the manager to execute its wishes. Non-compliance can result in a dismissal of the manager. The council is responsible for policy decision-making. This is not always an easy or pleasant, but it is necessary, and as much as possible, the council should make decisions themselves. They should meet with citizens groups, which I do. Communicate with the media and other governments, which I do. I talk to people with different points of view. You should talk to your people with different points of view in your constituents, your officials in neighboring villages, cities, and townships. Officials will have different perspectives on each issue. And I do listen. No government official can always make the decisions that please everyone. Honest people have differences of opinion. You should always stand up and be counted. Falsehoods, misrepresentations, distortions, and challenges to your integrity or honesty should be answered vigorously, and that's what I'm doing.
So,
A general rule of thumb is to conduct public business in a public place, and that's what we're doing here tonight. Realize you cannot solve every problem quickly. Looking at problems from the inside is a different perspective when you are forced to look at all the aspects. You have the information that the citizens do not, and you are charged with educating as well as listening. We should keep an open mind, commit to openness, and keep your sense of humor, and enjoy your term of office. Thank you. Tim Bordine, President, the Village of Dundee. And I would also like to read something else here. This is an email sent to our employees that was left on my front door. This is from David Yule writing this email. This is left on my front door. All. Just a reminder to all employees and contracted services that in order to maintain our day-to-day productivity, elected officials should not be engaging with any village employee in a fashion that prevents that employee from performing their job. If any elected official approaches an employee giving directions or asking questions about their function or job assignment, that employee shall immediately direct the individual to the village manager. If the elected official persists, it should report it immediately to the employee's supervisor. I hope that everyone had a great Thanksgiving and enjoyed your long weekend. Also, a big thanks for all the hard work and to getting the village ready for this past holiday seasons. And this was left on my front door way back in November when I won the election. Apparently, us elected officials, we can't talk to anybody. I don't bother anybody. When they approach me, I try to answer them as honestly and politely as I can. Thank you.
Tim, I've been in this village office and watched you walk up to employees. To me, that email is not saying, first of all, who it is, but just that that elected officials shouldn't be doing that, because we shouldn't. In your reading, you said that the council directs the manager to do their wishes. Unfortunately, I feel that you only want the village manager to do your wishes. This agenda review item, that was what we all suggested that Dave did. So we are directing him to do our wishes. We asked him to do this. We asked for background on things. And if you look at this agenda review item, he's providing facts. He's saying he's hearing information. He can't divulge who. That would be a violation of their privacy rights. We asked to get more information for the finances. We directed Dave to do that, and we have it. I feel that we have more information and more background as a council, and we're more transparent than we ever have been in the 2+ years that I've been on council. So what is it that you think that council is directing Dave to do that he's not doing? What is it? What is your
I'm just saying the preview agenda, that we can make our own decisions, that's all. And if you guys want to go that way, that's fine. I don't want to influence anybody's decision. That's what I like about this council. We're all different, men and women, and we all have different views, and that is the benefit of Dundee, because we're all coming from different backgrounds, and we're different people.
So what part of it is opinion, though? The goal is
Just
to
when it
provide
says
facts.
to suggest, I mean, we should investigate this on our own. We're all
Yep.
adults.
We should.
So we should investigate it on our own.
Yeah,
We
we
have
definitely
Friday.
should, but if he has more information for us, he should always give us that more information so that we can read his information and that we can say, okay, I don't really understand that still. I need to come and I need to talk to Dave, or I need to talk to Chief Garbo because I don't get it. So what is he doing that's so wrong? He's not making the decisions for us. He's providing us additional information so we can do this job the best we can do, and I feel like I'm doing this job better now than I ever have been able to.
Well, I'm proud of you for that. And I just, everybody has a difference of opinion, so we can agree to disagree on that. I have no problem with that.
Have you ever come up alongside any police officers with cars pulled over?
No, they've stopped me and I've talked.
They've stopped you while doing their job?
Yes.
So they've had people
They
pulled
maybe they're
over
on
and then they
lunch.
stopped you secondarily?
People stop me all the time.
No, I
a
mean
lot
any
of people
police
out there-
officers. Have police officers ever had someone pulled over and you've been in the proximity of any car?
No, that's what I'm saying. This is not true. I would never, ever go in front of a police officer while they've
Because-
had somebody stop.
Because
I
I've
would
been
never.
told otherwise, and I know that those officers feel like you are giving an undue judgment to what they are doing, and I don't feel that they're able to do their job.
I have never interfered with a police officer, a Dundee police officer, and I would never do that. And I feel safe wherever I walk throughout town. I have no complaints with the Dundee Police Department. I'm just telling you what the people say in town. So when I bring it up, probably Chief Garbo gets misled or assumes something, because when I have asked him questions about school bus things, sometimes we get the officer out there, sometimes we don't have the manpower. That's fine. I can't tell the police department what to do. And I don't stop the police officers or interfere at all.
Okay. I mean, if I was in Chief Garbo's shoes and you were going to other municipalities asking why we were here, why we were there, I too would feel the way Chief Garbo feels. And ironically enough, I've only been pulled over on 23 one time in my entire life, and it was by a Milan police officer. So, you know,
Oh, yeah.
they all do, actually. You do?
If I may, Mr. Bourdin, the words never, that's not true to you. When you were trustee, if you recall, right after I became chief, one of the things you did and I approached you on was stop approaching the officers on the stop. Officer Shirello was exactly that officer. I remember that conversation like yesterday that you and I had, so don't use the word never.
I
When you
don't remember
Point of
that.
order, I have the floor. Also, when you sit here and start, I appreciate you naming off every city that you went to, because that is, you hit that, but you forgot about one, and that's Tecumseh. When was the last time you were at Tecumseh? Can I ask that?
Last night.
Okay, so you've been at Tecumseh quite a bit. I know that. Wasn't just last night.
Is it against the law to
So
go against,
what I'm
to go to drive to
what I'm trying to tell
Tecumseh?
you, point of order. When I'm done, sir, I ask a question, you
I will
answer.
direct the meeting, and I'll
You can direct
ask,
the meeting, but when I have the floor, you can't interrupt. That's Robert's rules.
well, we always don't have to go by Robert's rule. That's a general law of thing.
Tim, that's enough. Let him speak. That's enough.
So with that
That's enough.
said, the words never do not apply to you, because you have done it. To answer the question that Andrea has asked. You also, if you recall at the last meeting I was at, which was 2 meetings ago, you questioned about why we were at Cone Road. Yes, you always question that. The number I think you used was, I know I've asked you for 623 times, and then for the 624th time, I answered that. I do recall that, too.
That was 723
and the
times.
and the good thing about that, 7? Okay, thank you. But the good thing about all this is our meetings are now recorded and put on YouTube, so we can go back and look at any meeting as to what was really said.
And it was
The
723.
main thing is, I'm asking that you stop embarrassing the police department, stop embarrassing me. You come through this village, you collect your paperwork in that closet, you never stop in to say hi. You've yet, since it had you been in that seat as president, you have not once stopped in to see the chief.
Yes, I
So
have.
when you say, have we ever talked since you've been president? In my office?
I've never seen you in your office. When I come and pay my water bill and I
Because
come up here to
I'm
pick up
working.
the stuff.
Right, I'm working. But
Have
I
you
know-
ever come to
I know
me?
since you've been president.
Have you ever come to me
Okay.
since I've been president?
So this is, I'm handling this the proper way. This is the proper channels. So that's how I'm handling this, and it's through Mr. Yule, okay? So if there's any other questions for me, I'd be more than happy to answer them, seriously.
Okay, I guess you can sit
Thank
down.
I have a question.
Yes, sir, thank you. Thank you.
Now, as far as the cameras that are in cars,
Yes, sir.
that can also be reviewed to see if he's pulled up behind you or in front of you and waited for the officer to get done with their duty and him approach them or whatever.
We could review the cameras. Unfortunately, we don't have in-car cameras, we have body cameras. We have moved from in-car because of the expense to body cameras. So we do have body cameras, so any contact we have, we could review those, yes, sir.
Okay.
All right, thank
Anything
you.
more?
Yes, as long as we're on this subject, I would like to make a motion that we follow Mr. Yule's recommendation and direct Attorney Fred Lucas to draft a letter that goes out to all the municipalities, explaining very clearly that Tim Bourdain is just the president of the Village of Dundee and has one vote just like everyone else.
I second.
There's a motion on the floor, and it's been seconded. Could you read the motion, please?
Pick it up from my records completely from because it was a pretty long motion.
Okay,
So I'll pick it up in detail.
okay,
and put it in the
that's
motion,
fine.
Okay. The synopsis is that Trustee Polito, seconded by Trustee Reeves, Mr. Fred Lucas, to send a letter to other municipalities in regards to President Bourdain being just one vote on the village council and does not follow the directions. So I will finesse it a little more, if there's no objections.
No objection.
Okay. Trustee
All in
Polito?
favor?
Trustee Polito?
Yes.
Trustee Hickey?
Yes.
Trustee McClendon?
Yes.
Trustee Reeves?
Yes.
Trustee Horky?
Yes.
Trustee Schroeder?
Yes.
President Burdine?
No. They already
Motion
know.
is carried.
Okay, now there's old business. Do we have any old business? Seeing none, hearing none, we'll go to upcoming, the training opportunities. A municipal planning seminar Wednesday, April 17th, 5:30 to 8 p.m. at the Monroe Bank and Trust. Monroe, Michigan. Dave, would you like to elaborate on that a
Yes,
little?
thank you. This is, I put the pamphlet out in front of you again, I think for the second or third time. And this is what we talked about with the shovel-ready communities. We're going to have this on DDA's, your agenda, Planning Commission, and we have to show redevelopment-ready communities who we're trying to be a part of, that we are offering training opportunities. And one of those that would qualify is tomorrow night, the Municipal Planning Zoning Seminar, and I think some of you have attended that before. I think Michael has, Andrea. At the Monroe Bank and Trust, we serve food there, heavy hors d'oeuvres and refreshments, and it's a training for all planning, zoning, and elected officials in Monroe County, and it's usually quite well attended. So that's just another opportunity for you to qualify for training opportunities. I hope to see everybody there.
Is there any questions? So everybody knows about the upcoming training opportunities. Is everybody going to attend? No?
I'll be there.
Sorry, I have a prior commitment.
Brian?
I have a prior commitment.
Mike?
I registered about 3 pamphlets ago.
Yep, you did.
Dave, I'd like you to put me down for that, please. I'll be there.
Okay.
Andrea?
I'm not sure yet. I have a meeting I'm trying to move.
I will not.
Okay. So Jordan? Maybe you and I ride together possibly.
We'll see.
Now we have the village manager comments. Dave?
Thank you. First, I wanted to thank Trustee Horkey came up to me before the meeting, gave me some things on senior rights, brochures to hand out to people that are coming into the office, so I appreciate that. Anytime we can get some of that, that we can better inform our citizens, that's a great thing. Also, when you get a chance, when you're leaving, the office door is open, and we put up the TV in the lobby that we've talked about quite a bit. And right now, Nick has pictures scrolling on it that have been taken. They got from Greg Lizette of the village. But we're gonna, hopefully down the line, we're going to put Mayfly Festival, the time for that. We're gonna put council meeting and planning commission and zoning, so people that are waiting in the office for whatever reason can look at that TV and see all the different things that are going on in the village. So I think it's going to be very, very helpful. So stop and take a look at that. It's got some really neat pictures on it too, so take a second. Park seats for the park. We're going to, Gary wanted to start on this one first by the Coney Island. And they're coming tomorrow, and they're metal seats. One is an ADA seat that only has 3, and I can show you the metal one here, except they'll be black. So these metal ones here, and there'll be a nice bright colored umbrella, which I've got to go buy those yet, but we'll put those up in there. Ron Phillips is going to hook up so you can charge your cell phone or your laptop computer and access electricity while you're there. You could eat your lunch. I think it'll be a great area for people. And for many years, you guys know that was a terrible looking building when people would enter the center of town and stop, especially if they had to stop at the red light for very long. But I think it'll be a nice addition to people coming from downtown. So as soon as the DPW gets those put together, we'll get those out and get started with that. Gary's also going to put some, I don't know if you've seen them before, but the old-fashioned lights are like Edison lights, and they're real popular now in outdoor green areas. And he has Salem Beans making some metal poles, and he's going to string those across both green space, and I think that'll be a really nice, addition. Another thing I want to talk to the council about. We were talking at our meeting, weekly staff meeting, and I always like to do different things, as you guys know, to improve morale in the office and to give a little extra added incentives to employees. And also, we thought about how can we better serve our community. So the girls told me, Teresa and Kathy, they said, Dave, a lot of times people say, I wish you were open a little bit later. We don't get off to work till 5 o'clock. It's hard to come in and get a building permit or drop off some things or ask a question about water billing. So I put it back on the employees. I said, come up with an idea what you want to do, and we'll discuss it and we'll tweak it. So they did. And what they want to do is Mondays from 8 to 5, both girls will be working. Instead of now, they're staggered. One comes in at 8, one comes in at 9. So there'll be more staffing in the office, and as you know, we're going to fill a part-time position in the office. So it'll make it even better with employees in there on the workload and helping Gary with the building. So I know he's stacked up pretty extensively on his building permits that need to be processed. So on Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, both account clerks will be in there from 8 to 5. On Tuesday, we're going to stagger Kathy and Teresa, and one of them every Tuesday and is going to work till 7 o'clock at night. So we're going to have the office open for people to come in here, citizens to come in until 7 o'clock at night on Tuesday, which is enhancing our availability for the citizens. And then on Friday, and this, we're calling these summer hours. So beginning June 3rd and ending August 30th, before, a little bit after the holidays, we are going to close the front office at noon, and both girls are going to be able to take off at noon on Friday to go enjoy nice weather the weekend with their family. Gary, Nick, myself, and Robin will still be here, but both girls will not be in the front office. So that is what I'm going to give a try, and as we always talk about, if it doesn't work, we'll keep track of it. Right now, Teresa and Kathy are keeping notes on how many people come in. We're very slow on Friday, especially after lunch. So they're keeping track of all the statistics, and we'll be able to look at this after we try it. I think it's going to be a good thing. It's a good change. And if it doesn't work, then we'll go back to what we were doing before. So that's something we're going to start on those dates. I want to introduce Nicholas Lazar, who's sitting at the back. Nicholas? We have been, as you know, trying to figure out, Jordan's wife was graciously filming for us in our meetings, and Mr. Lizette, who handles our social media, was putting it on Facebook and on our website. Well then, as everyone knows, she's extremely busy, full-time employment, plus owns a business, and just couldn't give that time anymore on a consistent basis. So we've been really struggling with, what are we going to do? We had one company come in here. I really didn't like what they were offering and what they did. The video quality was not good. Well, thank you, Lyle Jaworski heard me talking about this at a DDA meeting, heard me talking about it in the office with employees, and the next thing I know, Lyle comes in with Nicholas, who he had discovered with his business, lives in the village, and if he starts talking to you about IT stuff, be ready to be, you just don't even know what he's talking about. Nick and Nicholas do get along very well, though. They understand each other, and I know Greg has been talking to him with interest before the meeting, and I think Greg and Nick can attest that he's very knowledgeable, owns his own company. What's the name, Nicholas?
Evolution Enterprises.
Yep, and he is, I'll tell you, he's amazing and a wizard. Right now, we are not streaming live tonight. He decided to come to the meeting and not do it live tonight, but we have a YouTube channel, and it will be posted on the website and on Facebook. And from here on out, Nicholas, correct, we will be streaming live.
Looking forward to it.
Yes. So, I mean, this is pretty great. We've been trying to work on this. The other council, we were talking about this for a long time. So this is a fantastic thing, and it's just another thing for the citizens for transparency, and I think it's going to be really great. Also, as you know, I'm moving forward with paperless, and we've been talking with some companies. Andrea is going to attend a webinar here. This company is gonna do that again. And we are looking at council meeting agendas. Everything for the council is going to be paperless. People are going to be, citizens will be on YouTube watching the council meeting. The agenda is going to be right on the page. They can follow along in the agenda and watch us live. And I think it's just going to be a fantastic thing that when we get it up and running. But it takes quite a bit to do, and we're working at it, and we're quite a ways ahead with it. So part of that is I was at the city of Monroe, and they recently went to smart boards. And if you're familiar with those, it's just a huge computer. We have ordered a 70-inch smart board that is on, and we can't afford to have them all. The city of Monroe has them in the lobby, they have them in everybody's offices, they have them in the council chair, they have them all over. We can't afford that. So I talked with the company, and we have one on a cart. That's what we're going to have. And Nicholas has agreed to come and help set it up for us and teach us how to use it. And some of the things it can do, we can have it at a council meeting, and we can be showing things to the council, and we'll turn that TV around to help the people in the council, or in the audience will be able to see better, and we'll have a smart board up here. You can see the agenda and everything on there and notes. We can actually, a presentation, if a Spicer comes and they're talking about Cabela West or whatever, McBride Street, they can get up, pull up Google Earth, actually show you what we're doing. And the other day, we had an RSA huge meeting here that the conference room was full from SEMCOG, MDOT, the county, the state, our people here, Manick and Smith, and that, if you remember, is the road safety audit that we got the $40,000 grant for that the chief was working on. We really could have used that board because you could go and draw on it, change intersections and show what you're doing. You can erase it, change it back, and so it was very, very helpful. And then Gary Dahl is excited that he can take this back into his office. And when you do a site plan, so Bell Estates, and I was going to tell you, Bell Estates is getting ready to go to the Planning Commission and with a site plan for the 207 more additional apartments. So Gary Dahl, instead of having those big, huge site plan sheets about this thick, going through them, he has to write on those, and he's required by the building code to give those back to the construction management company and keep them on site. So now Gary can take that smart board back, he can write on the smart board all his comments that go back to the construction site, hit a button, and the smart board will change that all to print. And then all he has to do is hit a button, he sends it back to the company. There's no paperwork. So he's really excited about that. I got the cart the other day, and any day I'm expecting the smart board, and I'll get a hold of Nicholas to help us with that. Nicholas is also, for years back when Pat Birch was here, we had security cameras downtown. We had in here. We had it at the front counter in case there was a problem, and we have them on the outside of the buildings. They stopped working. We haven't been able to get anything done with them. Everything we've checked has just been way, way too expensive with several companies we got a hold of, so we kind of forgot about it. And I talked to Nicholas the other day. He is going to look at these cameras. He thinks, hopefully he's right, that we can use the existing cameras and not spend money on that again. And that he thinks the same thing that is going on back in our IT room here, the same computer, can then house all the security stuff from these cameras, and we can get everything back up and running. So Nicholas is going to check that out. We're going to wait, though, because they're so high up outside, we're going to wait until we get a man lift for the DPW. And then Nicholas will put him up in that and let him go look at the camera. So I think that's going to be great. Big Burger is surveyed last week, if you saw them out there. So that's right around the corner. Gary and I ordered the new dump truck for the DPW, and it's a Peterbilt. And that is going to be delivered, guaranteed, before the first snow flies. They guaranteed it. So hopefully that will arrive at like it's supposed to, and we'll bring it to a council meeting. It's really it's fitted up well. It's got a junior wing on it, so you have 11-foot bottom plow, belly plow on it, and you have a 7-foot junior wing. So that means and you've probably seen them on the county trucks, when they put that junior wing down, so now they're doing 18 feet of roadway. We're gonna save so much time in snow removal. Also, we're going to go to chlorination of the salt where we pre-treat it. And then also we're looking at pre-treating the roads, which I've been told that it really reduces the amount of salt that you spend. So those are kind of what's things that are going on. I would ask Mr. Lizette, anything from the township?
As a matter of fact, I do. Thursday, we are scheduled to get our repaired grinder pumps back and installed. Hopefully, we'll have those up and running very soon. Our local library is having a book sale this weekend, Friday and Saturday. They've got a sign out front, tells you the hours. They would like people to show up and purchase some books. And our annual Township Cleanup Day is Saturday, the 27th, from 8 to 1 at Rod Park, across from Kroger. Bring your stuff there instead of throwing it in the ditch. We'd appreciate it. Thank you.
And we will, I know Joanna asked me, but just to let you know, we will have a DPW worker there with a backhoe as always to help you guys out.
That really, really helps.
Yep, glad we can help. It's a great service. Mr. Lizette in the back, do you have anything for social media updates or anything?
No, sir, we're just gonna work with Nicholas and get that going.
Good, glad to see you here, thank you. Nick, LaPence, anything else from engineering?
No, sir.
Okay, Chief, you don't have anything else?
No, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Lucas, anything?
No, sir.
Okay, that is all I have.
How about Mr. Jaworski, the township trustee?
Mr. what?
Ah,
Oh, Mr. Jaworski, yeah. Thanks for coming.
how much was this truck approximately?
I have no idea without looking at the paperwork. It was in the budget. So if you look at your budget, from your budget workshop, you'll see how much what was budgeted.
Approximately. And how much is it gonna cost for the filming,
What filming?
what this gentleman's gonna do in the back?
The cost of it is what we had installed, that camera that you see right up there, and him installing it, and that's it.
Okay,
It does it by itself.
how much money was that?
I don't have the paperwork with me, I can't.
And who's gonna be to help the girls out, the part-time secretary?
I have no idea, we haven't posted it yet.
Okay, thank you. Now we go to council member comments. Elena, I'll let you go first.
I got my Dundee Independent today, Tanya, and I have a picture of my family in there, so if you could help me actually get that so I could. Oh, I will. Thank you. That's it. It was a wonderful picture, so thank you.
Well, that reminds me, Tanya, not to interrupt you before
Okay.
you go on, Mr. Burdine, but Tanya, can I touch base with you? You can help me get out the summer hour thing so we can educate everybody? Thank you.
Yep.
Brian, do you have anything to say?
I just want to say to the community that I appreciate the fact that there's employees in the village that when they feel that there's a concern, that they follow the chain of command. It is our job to make sure those processes and procedures are in place. I encourage any staff member, if they feel unsafe, they feel harassed, intimidated by any employee, to please follow the chain of command. Our job is to make sure that you're safe, create a good work environment, and a good culture and environment here. I also work for an entity that is governed by a board, and I could never imagine having an elected official in my workplace constantly. We have started saying for 6 months that we're going to work on making this better. I am committing to you that at least I am going to continue to try and make this better for all the employees and for all the community members, because we are the climate and we are the environment here. So thank you for your patience, and please continue to work with us.
Thanks, Brian. Jordan?
I have nothing today. Thank you.
Denny?
Yes, first of all, I do want to say to Dave that I do appreciate the agenda item review form. It is something we asked for. For the people out there, it in no way, shape, or form tells us or directs us what to do. It just gives background, especially for the 3 newer people who may not be familiar with certain aspects that are going on, so I appreciate that. The second one, this is really hard, but I do want to apologize to the council, especially to Alana and Brian. It was my oversight that you all didn't get an email regarding the launch of the ADA swing, and that was totally my fault. The rest of us, except for Jordan, were there. And that's what I'm going to finish on. I really want to thank Lyle Jaworski and the DDA and Tim Stiff, president of DABA, and DPW there, and Solveig Homes for making that swing happen. It came about very quickly. It all came together quickly, and we did have our first launch of it Saturday, and there was a nice picture in the Independent, and to see the smile on this young man's face, it's just something beyond what you can imagine. So thank you all.
Thanks, Denny. Andrea?
I just want to make sure that Denny gets the kudos that he deserves on that particular project. Denny worked really hard on that project, and we're very thankful that we're moving the community in the right direction. Thank you to the DDA, Tim, Terry, all of you that come and do that. It just shows where our priorities as a community are, that we want to involve everybody in this small community, and we're thankful that you work so hard, Denny. So thank you.
Mike?
I would just like to say thank you also. I was there shortly afterwards. I did and saw it, and I thought it was very nice. Also, we had the pinwheels that went on Friday, I believe it was. That went on very nice. Everybody came up, put in pinwheels up at the triangle, if you notice that. And so that was for Ken. And I'd just like to say thank you to everybody who's doing a good job around town. And we do have a lot of problems that it's going on, and we all have to work together. Like Trustee Schroeder said, we are all up here to try to be the best that we can be, to help us all be the best we can be. And when one of us goes out and does things, it all represents us. Whether you say it does or it doesn't, when you walk up to another community, when you walk into another place, you hand them your card, that still represents the whole community. And I do want you to know that, Tim. Even though it's just your card, you're still representing the rest of us. So.
And I'm trying to better myself so I can represent the community better, because I got ideas from
for right
their
now,
meetings when I sat and I listened.
This is my moment, okay?
Yes.
Just one moment, that's all I want to ask. I just want the respect for everybody to be the way it should be. All this stuff, trying to step over each other and do this, it's got to end, because we're never going to get nowhere with the community and with each other and ourselves if we keep doing this. There's just no way about it.
Very good. That's how I feel too.
Okay.
Thanks, Mike.
That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Now I'd like to shout out to Dundee Independent for I really enjoyed the train story, and it was very, very thoughtful of the Independent to write it, and I got a lot of comments on it. I enjoyed it myself. It was very informative and everything, and it brought back some memories, but it also told me some things that I didn't know about too, and I really appreciate that. And Daryl, thanks for putting your input on it too. That was very good. And I'd like to, another shout out to the DPW. They always do an excellent job of keeping our town clean. And the new swing that was put up by the DDA and DABA, see the little kid, the handicapped kid, the smile on his face brought tears to my eyes, and everything was excellent. His mother was so happy. He was so happy by the way he was doing it on. It was excellent. That is a very good thing to have over there at Rod Park, and thank you. Wolverine, I'm sorry. Now we go to citizens' comments. Does any citizen have a comment of what took place tonight, or any comments that they have? The non-agenda items. Yes, it is, Sharon. You'll get your exercise tonight.
I'd like somebody to answer me why there is a light pole laying on Viking that has been there since last fall. There are no street lights on Viking working. I don't know who to talk to, who to get a hold of. I talked to a Dennis or Detroit Edison man one day, and he said he didn't know, but he said he thought the village was responsible. There is no light at the end of Viking on Rawson. There is one light on Viking by the school parking lot that only works occasionally. It's dark down there. Dark. Not now because it's staying light longer, but that pole has laid there since last fall. Somebody laid that big pole down there and never done anything with it. Can we get a street light at the end of Viking on Rawson Street? That's all I need to know. It's safety. It's like that. The kids coming out of school at night, when they have all their night activities, which that school is busy all the time, there definitely needs to be some more lights in that part of town. And we're not getting it. And it's dark down there. And you guys tore up the railroad or whatever that was there on Viking. This was going to be some kind of a walkthrough, so there had to be an idea for some kind of lights to be put out through there. But it's dark, and I'm not kidding you. Not at 6 o'clock now because we finally got spring. But other than that, I just need somebody to look into that pole laying there, and let's get it in the ground and let's get a light on the end of it. So protect everybody. Okay, thank you.
Yep, thank you, Sharon.
Thank you.
Is there any other questions from the citizens? Have any comments? No? Hearing none? Seeing none? Okay.
Well, I'd like to thank all the council for all the things you help us, the DDA, do. It's just not us, and we have a great group that work together. The other thing is to watch that mom, that she don't have to lift that little boy out of that wheelchair to get him in a swing. So that was really cool too. We have some other events coming up, the Rockin' on the River and Pumpkin Palooza. And then we're working on replacing the lights with some commercial stuff for the lights and the Christmas stuff, because we're having trouble with some of them burning out in the centers and different spots. So we're trying to fix that issue for our people. The other issue I want to address is the not nice stuff tonight that was brought up. This is the same kind of stuff that happened when you took over as the president, and I don't think it's that you won or didn't win. It's about how you go about it. You tried to end around the volunteers. We had a little quarrel over that. You got nasty with those two ladies. Tonight, Mr. Garbo made his comments and presented them, and then you got nasty with him. I don't think that's the way this council would like to be represented. So I think you ought to take a little time and reflect on some of that, because it's not proper, no matter where you're at. So with that, thank you.
Thank you, Lyle.
Thank you, Lyle.
Is there any other citizens' comments? Doug?
I'm Doug Costa. So since Lyle brought that up about Tim, so can somebody tell me where Penny's office was in this building and what floor it was on?
Penny never used her office.
But she
It
had
was-
an office, right?
Right, and it was deemed
It
that
had-
it wasn't used. That is correct.
It had a desk in it, right? A
What?
desk in it.
Yeah, she never used it.
It's audience comment. It's not engagement time.
Sorry.
So anyway, since she had an office, and then when Tim won, the DPW workers were here moving everything out of Penny's old office upstairs. So are the DPW guys custodians now, or do they work outside? And where did they move the stuff at? Upstairs? That's all I'm saying, like, you guys are throwing stones, so somebody on the inside told somebody to move the desk upstairs. Does anybody know who told who to move the desk upstairs? That's all I'm asking. Thank you.
Yep, thanks, Doug.
Thank you.
Thanks, Doug.
Is there any other comments? Irene?
Mr. Tim?
Yes.
Mr. Yule? Ladies and gentlemen? You've never seen me in this place, have you?
She has to tell us who she is.
Irene, could you state your name and where you live?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm
And
Irene DeBruin. Everybody used to call me, usually calls me Grandma Irene.
I didn't hear you.
And,
What is your name,
go-
your last name? I cannot hear you.
Well, I don't
Could-
know.
There you
Tell
go.
me the microphone, please.
Okay.
It's Deroni.
DeBruni.
DeBruin, not DeBruni.
Okay.
I've been coming to the meetings in the last few times, and the only thing that I can hear from you people up here, is you're talking about Tim. And I just don't get it. The last time before this, was it 2 times ago that I was here? Anyway, there was a letter sent in, and the person never showed up to honor the letter. But you okayed the letter to be in the council, okayed it for to be in your council meeting. So I just don't understand this. Why all of a sudden we hear about Tim? Can you answer that to me?
This isn't
This is
two-way
a com-
communication.
this is
we listen to
we're
what
listening.
you had to say.
This is a one-way citizens' comments only.
One
So-
way, said it, oh,
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Well, that's what I'm commenting, that's why I'm here. That's all I hear about is Tim. But none of you other people, I don't hear anything about you. So, that's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Irene. Is there any other questions tonight for citizens' comments? No? Is there any other questions tonight on citizens' comments? Hearing none and seeing none, we will need to go into closed session, and I make this meeting adjourned.
We don't have closed session.
I said we won't have closed session.
You said we will need to go into closed session.
Sorry.
Meeting is adjourned.
What's up, Vic? How you doing? Boy, that was nonsense. That was nonsense.
I shouldn't have responded, I know not.
All right.
I was back. I was back.
I wasn't gonna give you back.
I think you should sometimes.
The one that, the 3 days a week that you coming in for Gary. Yeah, it's that position we had. So during the budget hearings, they sincerely authorized.
Oh, I
It's just
thought,
part-time
what
employee.
happened? I didn't get the whole thing.
And if Kathy or Teresa are going on vacation, then they'll cover all their days. So it's just too busy up there. So that's part-time.